empty palms on India's burning shore, listening to the tiger's howl and the savage lion's roar. As I stood gazing on the sea, 'twas lonely, bleak and drear, slowly advancing from the wildwood, an old man did appear. From whence came you? The old man said, in a voice both meek and low. I'm from the good old native isle, where the Lee and Shannon flow. You are welcome to our sunny isle, the old man did reply, as tears rolled down his hollow cheeks and bitterly did cry. From whence came you? 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 She lived in a little white house on a hill. She was 83. She lived in a little white house on a hill. She was 83. Her name was Lisa Sexton. She lived in Kentucky. She was 83, and we would sit in her kitchen. We would sit in her kitchen. We would sit in her kitchen. And she would tell us this story. She would tell us this story. She would tell us this story. She would tell us. When I was a little girl, I lived on the banks of the Red River. Growing up back then was really different from the way kids grow up now. We had no TV, no radio. You had to make your own fun. But I was lucky because I lived near Miss Lella. If you lived near Miss Lella as a kid, you had it made. She would play hopscotch with all of us neighborhood kids. She was a short, squat little lady, and she wore glasses, and she giggled all the time like she was a little kid. She grew a beautiful garden. I remember that Miss Lella loved flowers. She would take us out behind her house and into the woods, and there she taught us to hunt for squirrel. Miss Lella was a great shot, and she could skin the hides off those things faster than any man could. She would go to the river and go down the bank and get in her little boat, and she would catch fish to bring home. She had a pet crow, which she caught and tamed, and when she called, it would fly down and land on her shoulder and stay there a while. She also had a pet cat whose name was Kitty Press, and her husband Claude liked to feed it hot buttered biscuits under the table with her homemade butter, so they had a good fat cat. One winter when I was small, my mother lost a child in childbirth, and Miss Lella came to the front door, and she had the most beautiful bouquet of flowers for my mother. She was just a precious person. She didn't have children of her own, but she kind of adopted the whole neighborhood. We would always run down to her house after school. She'd always let us in, and she'd always be fixing some kind of snack. She had a huge wood stove in her kitchen, and she would pop popcorn and fry griddle cakes right on top of her stove. She had a red velvet couch where she kept her instruments. She could play anything with strings on it. We were not allowed to touch them, but sometimes she would take her fiddle out to the front porch. She would play for us, and when Miss Lella played, we would get up and we would dance and dance. People in the community, grown-ups too, would ask her to play for parties and dances, and so she was always ready to go. She never went anywhere without her fiddle or her rifle. She would play in bands sometimes. She and friends would get together to play, and they have wonderful memories of her too. They would say, Miss Lella, she played the prettiest music you ever heard. She would roll the notes in there just perfect. If we started playing at supper time, we might not stop till 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning, and Miss Lella would hang right in there. She wouldn't quit playing until she almost fell over. She was in her first heaven playing music. That's the story we would hear in Letha Sexton's kitchen. And then we would drive to the cemetery where Lella's buried next to her husband Claude and look at their graves for a little while, and then we'd get back in the car. We would ride down to the place where Lella's house used to be, and we'd stop at the edge of the driveway. Letha would say, I can just picture her standing there with her pet crow on her shoulder like it was yesterday. She would say, I wouldn't miss that life, just living by her for the world.